All right, guys. What do you think about Apple's Mac chip? You know how they like
Do you
basically
know what?
booting Intel from the Apple series.
Do you know what? To be honest, it's about time because
Well, they're
there's
booting both sides.
yeah AMD and watch. But to
Yes,
be
yes,
honest, to be honest, Mac is Mac and has always been using Mac software. But nothing about Mac and iPhones is Mac. You
yes.
understand?
Yeah.
Camera is Sony, 20 to 30% is Samsung. So nothing about it is really Mac, only the OS. So if they
Yeah.
make a proprietary chip for Mac only, they have more control of what comes into the machines and their phones. So they have more control, or quality control, and less of the backdoor hacking that the Chinese, like they say, might have. So it's a good thing for them. It's a bad thing for everybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because now Apple, AMD, and Intel are now losing you know, a company that uses their products.
Well, like they
100%.
said, it was like 2% of their sales.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but what is Apple going to do about graphics cards? Are they going to still stick with the AMD and the Intel series?
They're
Um,
gonna stick with AMD.
yeah,
well, that depends. If they're going their own CPU, then they're going to might thinking of making their own graphics cards.
maybe they're in development with it. We just don't know about it.
Could be, but well, that's up in the works because by the
Yeah.
what Trump is doing in the long run is hurting a lot of companies. A lot of people saying Trump has made America better and created more jobs and things like that, but the alienated himself from the rest of the world. And then I think most companies, if they had foresight, they would have understood that. Hang on, this future coming is not great for us. We actually have to make something for ourselves to be able to stand on our own two legs. So the most of the companies I think that you're going to see in the next future are going to bring out their own software or hardware and things like that. So they won't be so dependent on Chinese or Taiwanese manufacturing. They have their own stuff. It's like camera equipment, for instance. Nikon uses Toshiba and Sony sensors. They don't make their own sensors, but they use Toshiba and Sony sensors. But Nikon cameras sensors are the best sensors in the world. That's why there's never been a Canon camera in space. The Hubble telescope and everybody else that uses on the ISS is all Nikon cameras.
Well, it's because they
So
have good sourcing for their parts. You know.
yeah, Sony sensors are some of the best sensors in the world. The new Toshiba as well, the high-end sensors, best sensors in the world. Canon
Yeah.
makes their own sensors, and yet they still have problem with low light. It becomes mushy. The Mark D five, the
I mean,
Mark 4 5, Mark what was Mark 5D Mark 4, yeah.
my.
The 5D Mark 4 has a step up onto the other predecessors, and it doesn't make the low light, mushy.
I
So
mean, have you seen the Sony 7A?
yes, oh, phenomenal, dude.
That thing is insane.
Yeah, most of their digital cameras, they are leading the field when it comes to mirrorless. And then
Yeah.
straight out of nowhere, total surprise, Nikon came around and made their own mirrorless and made Canon look stupid. It's like, what is Canon even doing in the industry? But they're reworking everything, and I think that abides to every tech company in the world. If you don't make your own proprietary software or hardware, you're going to lose. If you're reliant on either Chinese or Taiwanese companies or Indian companies, you have a chance of going bankrupt because the government that you are in or that they are in can shut you off completely. And then now what?
Yeah, but also worse yet, like what if Toshiba goes under? Now you're sitting with a problem where your core components are no longer being manufactured by such a reputable company.
You're 100%, but that's why you have a backup.
Okay, so let's take this already in process situation on Nikon making their own products and Canon making their own sensors and all that, and apply that to what Apple's doing right now.
Yeah, but that's the thing is Apple is saving their own asses when it comes to the CPUs,
Apple's
and I
trying to
think
become independent.
no, 100%, and
They've always wanted to be independent.
I mean, that started off with them showing the middle finger to the FBI because the FBI wanted a backdoor to them to their phones, and
Yeah,
they said no. So that started there already. Google sidelined a little bit because they kind of didn't practice what they preached. So we don't know how stable Google is with their security, or how they will bend over when FBI claims they want a backdoor to their devices.
Yeah, like their
But
Pixel phones, like Pixel 3 and Pixel 4 phones. You don't
100%.
know like who could actually. I mean, there's times where you could have someone actually spying on you because they think something's happening and they're using your phone, putting malware on it, and
Yeah,
you know.
100%. And that's what Apple did. They stopped the FBI from snooping, and they said not even us can look at other people's phones without their permission.
What about the hackers?
That's the thing, is that the hackers can only get into your device if you download software from third-party sites.
Yeah, they
If you
use
down-
phishing emails.
100%.
Yeah, but how many people does it?
A lot. No, granted, a lot of people are
So-
stupid, and that's
Yeah.
not being sad, negative. A lot of people are sheep. When they get an SMS saying, "Oh, your WhatsApp needs an update," click here to update your WhatsApp to a WhatsApp Gold. That takes it to a third-party software or third-party site, installs another version of WhatsApp on your phone, and now your phone's been breached. See, that's
Yeah,
a problem.
You're
A
giving
lot of
them
people
access to
don't know.
everything on your phone.
100%. A lot of people not awake according to that, because they just look and then going, "Oh, I've got a new WhatsApp. Look, it looks different and act different." And suddenly, over the period of a week, your phone slows down and it shuts down for no reason whatsoever. And then going, "What did I do wrong?" Being an idiot is a start, but yeah, might as well get another.
Okay, but why don't those companies just get an antivirus or something to stop those hackers? Because take the older people, they're gonna do it. If they get an SMS and say, "Okay, wait, you must update this and this and this," they're gonna click on updating or whatever they must do.
100%, but there is tracking and hacking, anti-hacking software, virus software, spamware software for phones. It's exactly like PCs. You must just download them. Some are a little more heavier than others, but the thing is, if you download it, you must just say, do a first off test, and then it protects your phone. But Google Play itself has a protection system on the phone. So it scans your phone every now and again to check for software that's not meant to be there. But hackers are getting clever now. What they do is they embed the spamware into the official software for the update.
Well, into
so
the
that's
kernel
why
itself, so that
100%.
it operates at the core operating system.
No, 100%, and that's what Google Play is having issues with, is because you get companies that's legit posting updates on their new software. Meanwhile, another company hacked that company and added a malware on the code. And when you download it, which was legit from Play Store, you're installing that hack, and then you are, so it's always very important to check where the source is coming from, and always keep abreast from news. But the best thing you can do is don't download from third-party software, and go and download Avast for your phone, or Bitdefender or something like that.
Or like
which
Malwarebytes even,
Yeah, Malwarebytes is pretty cool. And you scan your phone every now and again, and also it doesn't hurt to switch off your phone every second week.
Yeah, I mean, you're switching it off, you're breaking any possible connections, and they have to kind of reestablish that with generally more software, which is, yeah, you get your phone actually just starting to get very hot for no reason, and. But speaking
But I
of,
think they should make it easier for the older people to manage and use it than our younger version people, because we are more in the future than the older people.
No,
it's
I agree
true,
with
it's
you,
true. It's because
100%.
we've been basked more in the technological side of how the world
Yes.
is
And
working.
then brought up more into it.
Exactly.
It's like my mother-in-law. She doesn't know how to use an Android phone. Most of the time I said, the fingerprint sensor at the back, just touch it. It'll automatically open it up for you. You don't need your glasses to activate your phone. It's just your finger. Do you know how many times she forgets there's a fingerprint scanner in the back of a phone, and he still has to find her glasses to actually put the PIN code in? That woman will start a third world war, all because she wanted to put a PIN code into her phone.
No, same with mine. Well, not my mother-in-law, but
Yeah, but that's the scary part. But there are phones out there for people who are technologically
disadvantaged. Yeah.
disadvantaged. So you restrict them to certain apps, and it will have WhatsApp, it will have and the other things, but it won't have all the difficult apps on there that might cause you to lose your bank balance and stuff like that. Because a
Yes.
lot
Yeah.
of people, like my father-in-law,
That just
he can't
have
see-
dialer contacts.
exactly, he can't see the buttons really on your touch screen. He doesn't know where those are. He wants to feel them. So you get those phones who's got the buttons that you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
that,
how many phones are there that still have buttons?
no,
Well,
they're
there's
coming
phones
out now.
Only-
specifically released for that purpose, for people who need to have the button feels. I mean,
Yeah.
there's even phones that have come out where the buttons, you can feel them, and they actually have braille on the buttons themselves.
Mm.
You know?
So you have phones. I'd like the old banana phone. Remember the Matrix phone? They reintroduced that phone, and it's got buttons on it. It's got a slidey and everything. It's actually got its own software on it. I can't remember if it's got WhatsApp on it, but it's got internet capability.
WhatsApp.
It's a very very bland phone. And for those people, and it's got a big ass screen. It's got a big ass screen. So for in case you can't read, you can see that
Hey,
screen.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
cheap.
they
phone,
need it.
that phone is cheap, dude. It's like $600-700 compared to the phones that you buy these days with the entry of 15,000 rand, and you hit 25,000 rand for the Apple phones.
Yeah.
So if for those who don't look for like branded smart flagship phones, that's a phone for you, 100%. But don't
yeah.
expect this phone to do a lot of things though.
Yeah, no, I
Because
mean they'll be devoid of a lot of functionalities that like the newer phones have. Well, not newer, but the more flagship phones like the A series on the Samsungs, or the S series, or the Apple iPhone 10 and Huawei phones.
Why?
But
Yeah,
the
why
phones
is
that
getting big now?
yeah, they're growing, eh? But like the dedicated phones that are for a specific type of a service, you know, you'll get a phone that you can't actually load other software on. It's preloaded. It's literally you switch it on, you have your SIM card in, and the phone is set up. You know,
Yeah.
some of them are preloaded with the WhatsApp. Some of them are preloaded with a few other apps for messaging, and some of them even have like spam protection. You know, like Truecaller, for instance.
No, 100%. I mean, that's the thing is that you get those phones for the older generation because there's nothing they need to do. My mother-in-law keeps asking me, why is there exclamation mark on this app? I was like, well, you click on it and you go to messages, and there's actually a message telling you that it scanned your phone, that type of thing. And my father-in-law always says, why is there a red light flashing on my phone? I don't need it on my phone. It's like, well, because it says your battery is dying, or there's a message waiting for you. And 90% of all messages sent to their phones are spam from your service providers, from Telcom, from Vodacom to MTN, just crap that people don't need in their mailbox.
Yes, no,
And the
100%.
sad thing is that your service provider will sell your information to like a third party people in order just to make the like ends meet kind of thing.
Well,
No,
I mean, they'll
1%.
straight up deny it. They always do.
Yeah, no, they
But
will.
now, but now with the new Poppy Act, you can declare, remove me from your database. Anybody that phones you, you say, take me off your database right now. They have to abide by that, or they're breaking the law, and that the company that they work for can have a massive fine, or they can get closed down because
Yeah,
they're
that's what my Xbox boss does. Whenever somebody phones him and he didn't authorize it, he just says, take me off your database, and if you phone me again, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah, no, and that it's your right as a client and as a citizen of the country. You're allowed to say, "Take me off your database," and they will have to delete you immediately. Not allowed to phone you back again.
Exactly.
At one stage, I was getting 13 phone calls from this company. 13 phone calls right after each other. And then one day,
Jeez.
my Truecaller was blocking them all the time, but I was just getting annoyed, getting buzzed on my phone, on my watch, and things like that. I answered the call, and then there was an automated system letting me know that someone's trying to call me. I was even more annoyed. So I hung on for them. It says, "Hi, Mr. So-and-so." And I said, "Yes." And I said, "Before you even start, you already made me angry. After 13 phone calls, I'm annoyed. So take me off your database right now, and I don't even know what you want to sell. But you don't know what we have. You don't know what we're missing." I said, that attitude's not going to get you anywhere. Delete me now, right now, and never phone me back again. And I was never phoned back again.
Yeah, I know these cell phone companies and all of these databases with insurance scams, and you know it's Yeah, it's frustrating. But like speaking of hackers and all of that, you guys seen Valorant's new cheat
That's
system?
that's phenomenal. Ban you on your MAC address, and that's awesome.
No, but
It,
Warzone did the same thing.
yeah, no,
They so Warzone, well, Call of Duty themselves have added that two verification when you add your number. So they ban you based on your number, so you can't use another number or the same number again.
mm.
And then what they've done is that they've gone and basically banned your hardware.
No, but it's like Windows 10. Have you ever had issue with Windows 10 in which you had to actually format and start again?
No.
And then every single time when you have a Windows 10 and it's a registered Windows 10, right? So you have an issue and you made yourself like a backup disk or backup drive.
Okay. Yeah.
When your Windows is giving issues, reboot of any Windows. Okay, reboot of any Windows which you downloaded from the internet. It automatically detects your hardware and registers your machine again. You don't have to put any serial numbers or anything. It's your hardware that actually registers it for you. But the problem is when you have Windows running as now and you change your graphics card, that's fine. But if you change your graphics card and your RAM and your CPU, you have to buy Windows again.
Really?
Because it sees it as another machine.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So your motherboard doesn't really
No,
count as a new machine.
it's part of the entire thing. But if you do a massive changeover from CPU, graphics card, and RAM, it sees it as a new machine. It's a new user. You have to buy Windows 10.
yeah. So
Interesting.
literally, it happens if you do lots of hardware changes. So, like for instance, I can actually do probably once or twice a completely rebuild on my computer. I can change my motherboard, change my CPU, my graphics card, all of that, and still use the same Windows 10. But there's a limited number of times you can do that. Eventually, it'll just actually come up. You need to activate Windows. There's been an error. I've seen it a number of times with a few companies that have test benches where they've got Windows 10 on. They put in a lot of their drive, like their hard drives, and just to test it. And a lot of the times you'll see, I mean, it says activate Windows in the bottom right, and then rather than using all this money to buy Windows 10 repeatedly, they just have it there. They don't mind. It's just there because it's a test bench running benchmarks on the certain hardware and all
And
of
it's
that.
100% Windows. It's not like the old Windows 98 where or Windows XP, you have 30 days and then it shuts down completely. You can't use it.
Exactly.
The new Windows you can run indefinitely, but it just keeps saying this is not a registered machine.
Like what I'm doing.
Yeah, but Linux Tech Tips.
Linus
they
Tech Tips, yes.
Yeah, they have that. They have a bench machine, and someone actually mentioned to them, "Why are you pirating your software? Why are you pirating Windows?" And he actually made a point of it. This is not a pirated machine, and it says so. This is not a registered Windows a copy because we're using it as a benchmark machine. So we're changing hardware all the time. So why should I buy it and then have to keep buying it every time we do swap parts? And he
Yes.
actually mentioned it, and it says that's what you can do. But yeah.
I mean,
But I'm
that's exactly who I was actually talking about. That's where I saw a lot of it was in his company where they're constantly doing benchmarking.
Yeah, but that's the thing that is what is nice with hacking software for computer games, that they actually they ban the hardware that you're using, and the moment you ban the hardware, it becomes more expensive to hack because you now
Yes.
have to change the entire computer. I mean, in the design field, if you're using a specific software, some of the software comes with a dongle, and you can't use the software without the dongle. So it's very difficult to hack the software without the dongle. You can get
Yes.
emulators, but the majority of the time that emulator doesn't work, and then you're stuck with a software that doesn't really want to work. So, moment you link it to a hardware issue, then it becomes a much better fail-safe.
Yes. I mean, also with regard to this hardware ban on Valorant, Riot Games, they actually released a ban wave where they banned 200 people in one night on the beta release. I mean, people were messaging them on Twitter saying like, "Listen, I was wondering about the I was using a free cheat, really excited, blah blah blah." They said they learned their lesson. I tried a new account, but I've been banned from Valorant. Anyways, it's a mistake. or aren't you guys going to lift bans, etc., for giving us a second chance? And they were like, listen, there's no second chances. We gave you guys a chance, you abused it, and now we've taken it away from you. You can never play Valorant again. And I mean, that's what they should do in every game, because you're ruining the experience for people. I mean, when we play Modern Warfare, every 5th game, you know what, every 2 games, there's at least 1 or 2 hackers, you know?
Yeah,
and it ruins our experience, you know? We're trying to play
well,
and
look,
have fun.
Look at it this way. We play in our team with a guy, Vince, who has a console, and he has snap-on aiming, and we call that a hack.
Yeah, aim assist.
Aim assist, yes.
And for us, if we used aim assist in our computer, that would be called aimbotting. And then that is just we look at this. He's phenomenal, but yet again, I give him all kudos, or anybody who's using console and the thumbsticks, because I will look stupid using that thing. It looks like I'll be showing people zap signs if I use a console controller, because my fingers will fly all over the place, and I'll be obviously shooting myself, or actually throw the controller through the TV. But the software used on consoles for aim assist, either it should be stopped or even given to PC gamers so they can help even the playing ground.
Well, I honestly, I see it a different way. I see that the aim assist, it's honestly, it's minimal. If it helps them. If you think about it, with a mouse, you have a lot more control than with the thumbsticks on a controller.
Okay, then I want to say as well.
Simon and I are speaking from experience, because we used to come from console playing.
Yes.
And it doesn't work every time.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work every time.
Yeah, it doesn't work every time. Just now and then. It maybe will assist you.
It worked for you in Gulag.
Yeah, I know. Your Gulag play is monstrous. But I mean, they're trying to bridge the gap. They're trying to bridge the gap between console and PC, so they can have a lot more crossplay.
PC can be a lot more accurate.
Exactly.
PC can be so accurate, and you can snap on players and strafe them like you have aimbot. Like, look at Shroud. That man can track a player like he has aimbot.
No,
and if you think about console player, now you got to keep up with that.
Yes. But a couple of years ago, I think Microsoft brought out a game because everybody was up in arms about console players versus PC. We all should be able to play, and they did it. And it was a blind test, and they didn't know which one was what. And then at the end of the test, Microsoft stopped the test, and they wanted to know why. And they showed in the scores that the PC players were wiping the floor with the console players. That's before the aim assist was really a big thing, or even perfected in a way. They were just wiping the floor with them. But now console is almost emulating the effect of a mouse.
I don't know if you've guys seen.
It depends.
Sorry. Yeah, go, Vinci.
It depends, because I have to adjust my settings according to how I want it to be. You guys who's moving with the mouse, you're easy to look around in let's say in a 360 degrees. So I have to adjust my sensitivity to be more to move like you guys.
Yeah, Vinci, I can completely agree, because the computer that I have now is my first actual gaming PC that I'm actually taking serious, and I want to put time and effort into building and creating properly. And with playing my first time on PC, it's a completely different experience, because I mean, with console, just doing a 360 is as easy as just holding right.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to it. But with PC, you gotta swipe, lift, swipe again. Or if you want to go the other direction, lift, pull your mouse to the other side, and swipe. So you really gotta learn a whole new basis of how to move around with looking.
But I mean, it also depends on what you have your sensitivity to. I mean, I have my sensitivity at between 10 and 15,000 DPI currently all the time, and I can move my mouse like literally a centimeter, and I've done a full 360.
Yeah, but that's all personal preferences, though.
Yeah, definitely.
All the
settings
are.
If you look at when me and Sandman used to play console, Sandman would be on like 14% sensitivity. No, nearly 100% in terms of that.
Yeah.
And there I am. He's on 14. There I am on 3 or 4.
Yeah, I know. It
But
was
I'm playing
hectic.
just as well as him.
Yeah, but like I
Because
said, it's all personal. I mean, like my sensitivity, I can go up all the way up, but I prefer not to. I think I'm just above 900 on my
I
mouse.
can't. I
That-
can't. Me is like 30.
Any,
But you
anything, more,
see,
anything more than that is too twitchy, and that means I can't. If I'm aiming at somebody, I'm always off their heads, always, because it's
you
just
But that's
see,
why I
it
like the
depends
low
on every
sensitivity.
person by himself,
definitely.
how every person plays. Because if I can't play PC, my fingers is stupid. If you see me,
But
you're
see,
gonna
I used
think
to
I
think
wanna
the same.
feel the. Yeah, you're gonna think I wanna just feel the buttons on the freaking keyboard here the whole time, and
Trust me, I used
I'll be
to feel the
looking more
same.
at the buttons to see okay which one I must press now. Then I see okay I'm dead.
But I still do the same thing. I like every time we're running in a field and I want to like crouch or I want to prone. I have to look down. Okay, where's my control? Okay, there's control. Which one's my alt or C or
But that
whichever
comes
one
down.
allows me.
This comes down to experience and years
Yes.
of playing. I've been playing FPS games, and I mean even before Windows was a thing. And you get call it what you call it, Duke Nukem, and so forth and so forth, where you had those keys and the mouse wasn't an up or a down. Your W was up and your S was down, and that type of thing. So until Y-axis was invented into the mouse, the setup. That's the way we played, and I think that's with every computer game that you play these days, regardless if it's a new type or an old type. The first thing you do, you go into your keyboard layout and you set it back to the way.
WASD.
100%, even space bars, jump, crouch, you're running a shift, you're crouching as Z or X or whatever you're not, and then your reload is obviously reload, your melee is E, but it gets complicated when you start playing very complicated
No, but
computers.
it's like it's like that guy that I was talking to you about, where he used his right click button on his mouse as to go forward, and his left click to go backwards. And then the MKJ or spacebar is all his aim down sight, shoot, crouch, jump, and all that.
Yeah, but see, he grew up that way, and that's what he got used to over the years. And anybody playing on that system now will like, okay, hang on. Do you know what? I have a special number to call. They have special cells. They're all padded, and they have a special jacket you can wear, and they got free drugs. And so it's all personal preference at the end of the day. And there's never a wrong way to set it up. It's a personal preference. So there's no perfect way or no perfect way. It is that's the way you
Definitely
prefer.
not.
It's like my mountain bike, for instance. Totally off the topic. My mountain bike is a little bit shorter than I wanted, but because I don't want to lengthen the stem on it, because it's literally on the steerer tube, I actually did a razor bar, and I put the razor bar a little bit forward, so it gives me an extra 2 inches forward, which makes me a little more comfortable and less pressure on my elbows and my shoulders. So every single
it's gonna
time
lean you more forward.
Exactly. So every single time I take my bike in for a service, they ask me, why is your riser bars so far forward? It's like, it's my personal preference. I come from a certain background of certain bikes, and that's how I ride. And that's how I got accustomed to, and that's how I feel safe with. So now...
It's taking your height from going straight up in comfortability to making you basically lie down a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit more forward, and it's
Yeah.
still the same geometry of the bike. I didn't change any of the bike. I just made sure that I was not putting pressure on my elbows or my shoulders. And that's the same thing with computer games. Like, I won't work on a PC when it comes to Photoshop or any other thing, because the layout of the keyboard is just upside down, completely upside down.
It is. I went from working on a Mac to working on my home PC for Photoshop and stuff, and I couldn't figure out any of the buttons. I was like,
I look like a person who's got like 6-inch thick fingers, and I'm what the hell am I pushing? Why is this keyboard? At one stage, the keyboard was at a 90 degree, and people at work, what are you doing? It's like, I cannot figure out this keyboard. Why are they so wrong? And then, from now on, I work on a Mac. Okay, I work on a Mac because the layout on the keyboard is just perfect. That's the way it's supposed to be.
yeah, I agree.
But on a PC, you play on a PC because the layout on the PC is always just that way. And you are going to get, like, for instance, the die-hard Photoshop people who work on PCs are going, oh, no, I'm used to it. It's like, work on a Mac for a while, then you see how fluent it is.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. It's like feng shui on your keyboard.
I can completely agree with you on that.
Yeah. Well,
With
speaking
working
about...
for 1.5 years.
Carry on, Duck.
No, for working for like 1.5 years on just Photoshop, Illustrator, and Adobe Suite itself, and then coming off of that and going straight into Windows, it's just you can't find any of your keys, and you're like, you push U to open up the properties, and you're like, okay, now how do I drop down this? Because I know all the hotkeys to everything
Yes,
for
but it's
Mac,
yes.
but it's not the same for Windows.
Yeah.
Yes.
It all boils down to personal preference, and that's the same thing with computer games and how you even run your machine. Like, my machine is set up in a different way, just the way I like it. It's more feng shui. But the moment I sit down at somebody else's laptop or machine, I'm going, how do you work like this? So yeah, it's just computer games set up on controllers, set up on keyboards. It's personal preference, and nobody can kill you for it. No one say, you're an idiot. It's personal preference, and they should leave it.
Oh,
at
but then you can say he's an idiot because he can't work on
He
your
has
stuff.
it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
that's
could be
okay.
the idiot
Vice
for not being
versa.
able to work on his stuff.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's personal preference, and you've got no real right to say, you're doing it wrong and I'm doing it right. There is no right and there is no wrong.
Yes,
Yeah,
unless
that's
you're in a
correct.
game running and you're like spinning around looking at the sky.
Hey guys, look at me.
Then you got
Because you
I'm
got
the, I'm the best player.
Yeah, because you got inverted mouse.
exactly. like I find when I've started a new game and I've accidentally put inverted mouse on, I'm like running, looking up and down constantly. Like I'm
How do I
moving while
fix
I'm
this? What's
running.
going on?
This
I'm
is
so
the worst.
confused.
It's the worst when you play a computer game where you're like an FPS game and everything is fine and you haven't set it up for other purposes because you didn't need to, and then in the computer game you climb into a helicopter and an airplane and suddenly you have to take off and you crash.
Exactly.
Oh,
Controls are inverted. You go like, who the hell put it like that? Who does it? So it is like, because even with your mouse, if you push your mouse forward, your arrow goes up. So therefore
Yeah.
you fly up, not fly down. So everything is reversed, and that's you bang your head on the
It's so
keyboard and going,
confusing.
son of a.
And
Yes,
then,
very
then you
confusing.
think, what's wrong with my fingers? Why am I pressing the wrong buttons?
Did I do something wrong here? But I've done it before though. I was in
and
the
then you
right.
have to spend a straight minute just to go through all the settings just to invert one setting.
100%.
Yeah.
But I've done it before when I was leaning over to somebody else's computer and I actually twisted the mouse sideways and I was using it as if I'm looking at his screen. But every time I pushed up, it went right. I'm like, why is the mouse going right and I'm going
I've
up?
done that.
And I look, it's like, oh, I'm the idiot. And the mouse is supposed to be go straighting up. Yeah, so that is...
I've done that with a wireless mouse.
yes,
Yeah,
it's
you get mouse disorientation,
yes.
as you can call it. But speaking of your setups and your personal preference on your bike, you had a bit of an interesting weekend, eh?
Yeah, that you have to bring it up. It's not face. Yeah, no. You know what? It's like computer games. Okay, some days you are set up 100%, and you're getting the headshots, you're getting the kills like crazy because you're focused. You're actually sitting down. There's no distractions. Your mind's clear, and you're actually having a good day.
Yes.
And
You got a belly full of food.
that
You're happy.
that day I was a bit perturbed because the hikers behind me all weren't wearing their masks, or if they had their masks on, it's actually around their throat. And I look at this and I'm going, okay, and they start coming towards me and I'm like, okay, maybe I should just wrap up with this video pretty quick. So in back of my mind, I'm a bit worried about that. And then I'm struggling to actually get my sentences out where the trails were and blah blah blah. And then I left onto the trail itself where the video was supposed to be on. And then I noticed that my suspension wasn't set up for the trail. So there, my attention was again, okay, why is it not set up? Did I not prepare myself for this? So you can see in the video, I'm adjusting my suspension. And before I knew it, I was doing over 30 k's an hour, and I've done this trail like 1,000 times. I hit the first route, and instead of like just going around it or just popping over it, I just try to lift my front wheel over to not to take the brunt as much. But my front wheel just slipped off and hit the dirt and stopped dead right there because my handlebars were skew, and that catapulted me straight into a tree. And because my foot was still stuck on my pedal, it jerked me to the left hand side, and I hit
So have
the
you
ground.
got cleats?
Yeah, I've got cleats, and I can't ride flat pedals, and it jerked me straight to the ground, but it literally whiplashed me to the ground. And it hit me so hard, I knew something was wrong. And in the video, you can see I was lying there trying to grasp for air, I was moaning like a stuffed pig, but and I knew that my ribs are gone again, and I did something to my shoulders. Or to my shoulder, I did something to my hip, and I managed to get air enough into my in me to shout for
Just
help.
to yell.
But I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, "Who the hell's going to help me now?" So I had to suck it up.
Look,
Gain my.
it's just you staring into the sky,
Yeah, it's
pleading for help.
I was staring at these pretty treetops and all the jazz, and then lying there, and as true as Bob, it's like Murphy's Law. Literally not even 5 minutes after I erected my bike against a tree, a whole family walks past me. It's like I should have been lying on the ground pretending to be dead. Someone might have helped me, but no, that's what happened. And then I had to suck it up because I was in the middle of nowhere. I had to get to somebody that could help me, and thank goodness I had someone in Tukai itself that was close enough. But I still had to ride my bike another 2 or so k's to get there. And all worked out to the end, but the end result was quite disastrous with 3 fractured ribs, a possible fractured hip or pelvis, and torn ligaments in my shoulder. So yeah, I won't be doing that again. I won't. The thing is, it's like being the ocean. I don't know if anybody of you are fishermen. Vinci, I know you are.
Oh yes.
I'm a
Definitely.
I'm a scuba diver, okay? And the first
Same.
thing they teach you in scuba diving is never disrespect the ocean. Never
Yep.
turn your back to the ocean. The moment you do, the ocean's going to take you. And that's the thing I did in mountain biking. I disrespected the mountain. I turned my back on the mountain by not concentrating, but not making sure that I was focused on what I was doing. So that's what it was my fault. I should have been focused. I should have told the people on my head to bugger off, and then just ride the trail like I was intending to. But yeah, there's so many details to it that actually made my mind not concentrate where I was going, and I hit the dirt pretty hard.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times where I've fallen on my arse.
It's all concentration. That's all it is. It's just focus.
Now, what I was saying is like I've fallen a couple of times on my arse, and I'm just sitting there and I'm wondering, it's like, okay, please tell me that nothing like to my survival has broken. Like
Yeah.
I haven't broken a leg or I haven't broken an arm, because then if I've broken those, I can't get back.
Yes, but it's also on the financial side. It's like we all have medical aid, or hopefully everybody has medical aid.
Yeah.
And then if you break something, medical aid will sort it. But if you break your bike, do you know how expensive it is to fix it? These days, front suspension, 16,000 Rand, and it's not even a joke. And the
And that's
insurance.
just for decent suspension, not even.
Yeah, that's not even the top of the range. I mean, these days, if you even ask for insurance on your bicycle, it costs as much as your house. And you're sitting there going, I'm paying how much? Man, it's a high risk item. It's like, I'll show you a high risk item. My foot up your ass. but yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it is. Look, to be honest, mountain biking, the sport itself, or even motocross, it's a high risk sport.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
So you have to always be prepared to take a tumble and then lick your wounds afterwards.
Look, I do have to say, in terms of my sport that I do is enduro, ice hockey, and all that. Those are high risk sports, but I mean, enduro bikes are built to take the brunt.
No,
Like,
correct.
I've thrown my bike off of mountains so many times, and I just pick it up and it runs perfectly fine. Nothing broken, nothing cracked.
Except when I
And-
ride it.
Oh yeah, no. When you take control of my bike, the whole bike just falls apart.
Don't make
But
me
I mean-
laugh.
I
Don't
took
make
the
me laugh.
front
It's
fender
literally-
off.
But I mean, it just takes one hill that I'm trying to climb for my handlebars to break off of my bike and then split into two while I'm climbing the hill.
Oh, that was
How
funny.
does that happen?
Yep, correct. I mean, but the thing is, it could have taken so much abuse before.
Exactly. But what happened was that the bolts holding the handlebars to your actual suspension itself, your front suspension spokes. While I'm climbing the hill, I'm constantly pushing to try and bounce the front tire over rocks and roots and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think those threads just gave up because as soon as I pulled, the whole handlebars came off. And when they came off, literally I had no control.
No,
And I fell to the side. The handlebars went underneath the bike as it landed and then cracked it completely in half.
but like I
Now,
said before, your bike, any bike, takes so much abuse, and even the smallest part that you're not aware of that doesn't even it's not even a working part because there's
Yeah.
so much vibration going through your bike from jumps, from finer rocks, from dirt settings, that type of thing. It all wears down on the parts. And then you think, but why did this part break? But you must think, how long have you had the part for, and how much abuse have you put the entire bike through? And then, but that's why the pro riders literally after each race, they literally strip that bike and start again.
Oh yeah, no, they do. I've
So
been
exactly.
at the pits because I've been to the roof twice now, and I mean it's a 3-day race.
Yes.
And every day, at the end of the day, you see them in the mechanics in their pits, completely stripping the bike. They have two bikes, one spare and one that they use for the race.
Yes.
They completely strip that bike completely. They put all new bolts and everything on. Well, that's the one pit that I saw. It was for Wade Young.
Yes.
He's our South African rider that rides internationally and all that.
Yes. I've seen the name before.
Yeah, so his mechanics were all just saying, yeah, most of the bolts and parts that take a lot of the brunt and force under that, they will replace just in case something does fault.
No, but you have to, because like we said before, it's a high risk job. And for the professional sports people, that is their job. And you can't put your life at risk because of a bolt. You understand?
Yeah,
So
no,
one
definitely.
bolt that costs you 30 cents will put you out of your job and you lose millions. So 30 cents.
Especially freestyle riders.
Yeah, no, 100%. So that's why the sports that we're in, any endurance sport, any sport that takes a lot of impact, changing your parts on your bike is a regular thing. It has to be maintained.
Yeah.
Speaking about hectic impact, there's a Warzone bug. I know it's a complete opposite change of topic, but I thought I would slip this in. So this Warzone bug allows you to see through walls, but not in the way that I experienced. Basically, with this bug, depending on how close the person is to you, you can actually see a big name tag, red name tag, and it gets bigger the closer they are to you.
Really?
So if you aim down the
Whoa.
sights at the wall and there's a person behind it, if this bug is there, you can see the person's name tag with a big red thing. This guy actually, his name is Chill Billons. He clipped his video where he was shooting. He aimed down the sights. He saw this guy's name tag behind the wall, and he shot him through the wall and killed him.
Yeah, because of FMJ.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, but Warzone hasn't commented on it. They basically have said that they have yet to comment, but they're really going to need to fix this because it's going to become a major problem. It's going to be exploited big time.
To be honest, not to be a naysay, but the Call of Duty, I'm trying to see which disc it is. I've got it here somewhere. Where you start the game, it's one of the Modern Warfare. I think it's the first Modern Warfare.
No, it's Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, Modern Warfare 2. You can stand on one side of the building, and your mate can stand on the other side of the building. You can shoot each other dead.
What?
And some people just take their full LMGs and the entire it's like a team deathmatch, and the other guys on the other side, and you just see bullets fly through the building constantly. And it's a Call of Duty problem though. They from since the Modern Warfare 2 and so forth, they pay less attention to these little things. They say, yeah, we are going to address the problems, but they never do. I can swear to you, I'll install Call of Duty Modern Warfare or World at War. And actually, funny enough, I installed World at War now, okay? And I played the game. I was standing on the other side of this building. This guy was on the top floor. He shot down through the entire floor and shot and killed me.
Oh, I understand that. That's kind of realistic depending on what caliber
No,
you're using.
he shot with the LMG through the floor, through the wall, and killed me.
Oh, through a wall as well. Jeez.
Yeah,
Okay.
he saw my feet, and he knew exactly where my body was, and he got me dead. And it's like, okay, hang on. And I started the match again. I went in, and the guy on the outside, I saw him inside of the building and outside the other side. He like peeked out, went back out, and I just saw bullets fly through the. It is as if he was standing right there, bullets flying all over the place. And I just typed in hack. And then the administrator to the game says, "Who's hacking?" I said, "Everybody. You can see bullets flying through buildings." And then everybody just starts laughing. It's a Call of Duty problem, and it always has been.
But see, the thing is, they're hoping it'll be rectified in the season 4 release, which I don't know. There was a data release that said it was going to be today, but I haven't seen anything pop up with regard to that season 4 release. And I mean, I've experienced seeing through walls in Warzone. It's quite bizarre, to be honest. And like the most annoying part is you want to play to be good, but you don't want to play, and you got these things that you can't help but use because they're right there, and you don't know how to fix it.
Thing. But that's what I said. I saw this one guy mention about a skin on a sniper rifle. Now, I don't understand how that makes a sniper rifle much better, but it was a skin on a sniper rifle. The guy was driving towards him, first shot, headshot, dead immediately. And you can hear him say, "Oh, this gun is broken," and he threw it down.
What?
And it was a bug on a skin that made the power and the power on the gun more powerful. So you can just it's like Instagib anybody you wanted to shoot.
Yes,
So
I mean, it's
he
insta kill. It's one shot, one kill, and I mean that's
100%.
that's
And
if he had used that to win like a few games, I mean that's straight up abuse of a bug.
yeah, but that's the thing is he threw the gun down, and it makes you respect some of those players even more. That the fact he didn't hold on to it and going, I want to play it, carry on with it, and get as many kills as I can. No, he just said this gun is broken, and he chucked it down, and he went on for another gun.
Yes.
And I respect that. And if you know something is broken, report it and discontinue using the bug.
Yes, no,
Yes,
I agree.
man.
Hey, I'm not gonna stop playing Warzone. I enjoy that game, okay? But
I'm telling you, it's
it's
your
awesome.
graphics card. It's your graphics card.
it's just OC, you know. Anyway, speaking of graphics cards, you guys see the RTX 3080 from Nvidia?
Yes, that leaked image of it. And, to be honest,
It kind
with
of
weight.
looks cuck. I'm sorry.
You know what? I don't care what it looks like. I'm more worried about the performance.
Yeah.
It can look like a dinosaur inside my machine. I don't care. As long as it gets me the performance that they promised. Like when the 2016 2017 launched at 27,000 Rand for the graphics card, and they were marginally better than the 1080 and the 1080 Titans. You're sitting there going, why am I spending 23,000 Rand on a graphics card where I can spend 12,000 Rand on a 1080 or the Titan card? So that's the thing is, yes, it introduces ray tracing, and I've seen the introduction of ray tracing, and it's phenomenal. It looks superb. It looks awesome, but you're going to get people who's going to switch ray tracing off just to get that unfair advantage on people because they can't hide in shadows anymore.
Yes, but you know, speaking of price to performance, I honestly think this card's going to be too expensive with regard to performance because, I mean, imagine making a few 100,000 of these products, but now you if you see how it looks like that whole heatsink's machined.
Yes.
Now imagine machining hundreds upon hundreds of these things.
Yeah, but they obviously have a template to work from in a computer, and it's like 3D printing the damn thing, and they're just pumping out these heat sinks.
It's still
And
going to
the thing
be
about the
expensive.
machine, well, the thing about machining is that the program itself is built to save money. It's going to waste as little material as possible. I've seen documentaries upon documentaries on
Yes, it's
machining and all that.
per millimeter, like nanomillimeter. So it's not about the wastage. It's about the upgradability from the old card to the new card. Are you
Yeah.
getting the worth out of it? So a lot of people, when the 1660 came out versus the 1070, the new 1660 is supposed to have ray tracing and all the jazz, but it's still not as good as the 1070 GTX.
No, I was just answering what Sandman was busy talking about, how much it's going to cost for them to actually manufacture this stuff.
Very little, because they're doing in bulk.
Exactly.
Yeah, I suppose so, but they're going to market it as literally it's machined. It looks pretty to some people, not me. And people are going to be the way I see it is the same as Apple. I'm obviously not an Apple fan, but I think like Apple will say, yeah, we're going to remove the screen. Here's a new Apple iPhone 15. People will buy it, and it sounds stupid, but like that for me, that's the way I see Apple.
No, I agree with you because no, look, when Apple just launched their Apple Pro, okay, the Mac Pro, okay, that was was what did they call it?
But that's
$1,000.
16-inch.
Yeah, no, that's for the 27-inch. Came standard with not the Mac laptop. I'm not talking about the iMac. I'm
Oh,
talking
the
about
Mac Pro.
The Mac Pro, yeah, the cheese grater one. Okay,
Yeah.
the wheels cost $699.
Oh, the wheels are ridiculous.
Why?
And then the monitor stand. You don't get the monitor with the monitor stand. You have to buy it separate.
It's like
That's
$1,000.
$1,000. Yes.
Yeah.
And the computer itself, some computers at mid-range was ranging almost at 200,000 rand. You're sitting there going, okay.
What?
A lot of people, I'm sitting
This
there
thing
and
made
going,
out of gold.
yeah, it's 50. The one guy made his lap machine. He says he set it up through Apple itself, came up to $57,000. So you look at this, and a lot of people, even Linux Tech Tips, took it on, and he says, why do you buy these parts through Apple if you actually go through Intel itself and buy the parts separate, and it'll cost you 2/3 less. So if you buy the machine and you go, okay, I want to upgrade the Xeon processor, go to Intel, buy the Xeon processor, which Mac is using anyway, buy it, install it. I promise you that $57,000 machine will drop down to about $30,000.
No, agreed. But I think last topic for our podcast, and then we can wrap it up, is AMD crushing Intel.
You know what? That's been coming since 2000.
Dude,
AMD
that's AMD's been like literally like the snowball effect coming down a mountain. They've been building momentum and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and like it was inevitable. And the way I see it, Nvidia better watch its back.
No, 100%. I mean, that Intel decided they're going to bring out their own GPU as well. They said it's going to be better than everybody else, but they haven't gotten any win yet. So between the two, AMD, if you look at for bang for buck, yes, you're going to get your Intel fanboys and going, okay, I like my Intel. Yes, go for it. There's nothing wrong with Intel, but I'm
definitely.
not prepared to pay so much money for performance per buck spent compared to AMD. A lot of people saying, yeah, but AMD is. Do you know what? I've never had any problems with my AMDs. The earlier AMDs, like the Athlons and stuff like that, yeah, they had some
the
bugs.
FX and all that.
They ran quite hot, the older models, you know?
Yes, 100%. But AMD, for me, bang for buck, guaranteed, compared to what you get Intel. And Intel, they need to look at their business structure. Even Linus said so. They need to restructure, relook at the chipsets. They can't just rebrand it and then say it's got 2 extra this or extra that. It doesn't work anymore.
I mean, if you have a look at when AMD released their AX380 or what is it, 3080 or something like that?
390X.
That
390X.
Threadripper. Yeah, Threadripper.
No, the one after that.
Yes, but it's still part of the Threadripper range.
Yes, no, it is part of the Threadripper range. But
yeah,
it's funny to see because the day before that got released, Intel released their, what was it, the i9 9700X or something like that.
Yeah.
And even Linus said so himself. They literally shot themselves in the foot because they released it too early.
No, correct.
They're trying to beat AMD to the launch date for their newest CPU.
100%, but it wasn't even better than the predecessor. It wasn't
Exactly.
the predecessor.
That's why they shot themselves in the foot.
100%. It's like AMD, the one processor from. If I've got the FX 8370 compared to the 8390, there's not much of a difference. Okay,
No.
but if you go from the FX processor range to the Ryzen processor,
Ryzen 3.
what the hell? Sitting going, okay, that's a massive difference. Now going from an i7, top of the range i7 to the top of the range i9, you look at it, it's like, well, actually, it is an i7 retweaked. That's all it is.
Well, I mean, look at the i9 10900K. It's basically a 9900K that's been like added with a few things here and there, and I mean they're running flippin' hot at 14 nanometers, right? With all these things that they've mashed in there. I mean, on liquid cooling, they're getting 90 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, but look, there's a reason. Look at it this way. Vinci, who uses console, right? There's a reason why console uses AMD.
Because it runs a lot cooler. I mean, look,
also
AMD's
runs
coasting
cheaper.
on 7 nanometers, and their
It's
temperature
running
is
cheaper.
so much better.
100%. Just the fact, imagine putting in every single console, putting an i7 in there. How much will those consoles cost?
Oh, stacks.
9%. So you get more bang for your buck. And every console player goes upper for console over PC. In retrospect, you are running a PC that's just been retweaked. That's all it is. New kernel put in. That's it. So
Yeah,
you
I
would,
prefer a console because I can't play on PC.
but your console, in retrospect,
Why not?
your console is a PC because of the
Yeah.
parts it's got built inside. Has it
And
got
also just
Intel parts?
limited.
Yes, it's closed architecture. But it doesn't matter. Just the fact that it runs AMD says a lot.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
getting more bang for your buck. So Intel, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not slanting Intel. I just can't afford your performance. I just can't afford your, and also the world record overclocking comes from AMD.
Big time. The EPIC processor. Have you seen the overclocking like on the Cinebench scores? I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. No, I promise you. But yet again, that's why we actually have only two processor companies, Intel and AMD, and they're always in communication and they're always fighting. And everybody, some people will disagree with me, but it's a marketing thing for me. Like one will go up there and the other one will go up there, and I think they are talking to each other, trying to, because it boosts their sales.
Yeah.
One goes higher, other one brings that out, and there might be some secrecy involved, but there are some leaked informations, and the other one, okay, that looks like they'll be doing this. Well, let's do it this way. So in my mind, it's go with what you can afford.
No,
And if you can
definitely.
if you can afford Intel, then go for it. Not a problem. It's like I said to you guys the other day. This kid, he's got a 130,000 rand PC, and all he does is playing. What did I say? What's that other shooting game? Fortnite. All he does is playing Fortnite. He's got a 130,000 rand i7 or i9 machine, and he plays Fortnite with it. You could have spent so much less and still play the same game at 100%.
You know why he bought that?
Yeah.
Because you know he won't lag. There's no lag.
Wow. Guys, back
Lindsay, I can't laugh. You made me laugh, bastard.
back to the Cinebench scores. If you look at for the Epic, the one just before that Epic was 20,645, and then you got
That's a massive boost.
then you got Intel's Xeon Platinum, which is like probably one of Intel's best available processors, sitting at a low 16,536 points.
Yeah, but you must also understand that the Xeon processor is actually a server processor. I love the Xeon processor. I used to have it in the old Macs. They never say die type of chip. They're not meant for gaming. That's not their forte. They're there for actually server work. your multi-threading processing that fits if you send in your rendering for your animation, stuff like that. That's what they're
Yes.
there for.
Well, if we're
But they never
speaking
meant
about
to play games with.
if we're speaking about like non-server processors, we can look at the Intel Core i7-7700K, which
Yes.
scores 2,420, right? And 1, 2, 3 above that's the Ryzen 7, right? 8 core at 3,455, and just above that's the Threadripper, Threadripper 1950X,
Yes.
at 6,670. I mean, and that's fifth on the world record.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that Intel's bad, but for price to performance, AMD, they've got it.
I've never looked back on when I bought my first AMD Phenom, and I thought this was a decent processor. Even my one friend is at the i7 820. He came to my house to render his animation because my AMD just rendered so much faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a competition to his i7 820. I had the Phenom 2 1090. And he came to me and it rendered 3 hours faster than his i7 did. And I wasn't even overclocked. I was using for my gaming machine. So that it says something that AMD is doing something right when it comes to your gaming desktop processors.
Yes, no, 100%. All right, boys. I think that podcast was good. Thank you to everyone who stayed for this long with us.
Not a problem. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
We're not talking
Nice.
to you.
But I like listening to you guys.
We like listening to you too, Giz.
Oh, you guys make me blush.
And for all those who stayed with us, if you guys would like to go see the full video of Giz seeing his hut, you can go look at his channel, XC to Let's See. It'll be in the link will be in the description below. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week Wednesday with
Also,
another video.
if they have other topics that they like us to chat about, they must just let us know.
Yeah, no, please, guys, send us
Yeah,
topics.
comment down below.
We'd be happy to hear from you guys.
Yeah, they would.
Vinci with the little chirp in there. I love it.